Hello and welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I am one of your hosts, Zelia, and I'm here with my real tight homegirl and also my daughter-in-law. So don't try anything.
No.
Don't try anything.
No.
This is Beatrice. How you doing, hun?
Hey, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are
my
actually
God.
recording this on New Year. We just finished the last look back.
Yeah.
And we were raging into the void as usual, screaming about this Cody Brown character.
Oh, my God. Who does this fucker think he is?
I have some questions, and we'll definitely get to that. But before we do, we have to issue a disclaimer, honey. Hide your wife and hide your kids. This is a politically incorrect podcast. We say offensive things. We use bad words. And Beatrice has no couth.
None.
So if you're you might want to find yourself another dumpster. But if you're a down raccoon, this is the dumpster for you.
For sure. Also, go follow us on Instagram at Reality TV Cringe. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe. If you missed us while we took a week off, we have a bunch of bonus content up on our Patreon ready for you.
Yes, get to it.
Yes.
And if you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget, please, to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Everything you do actually helps us to grow. And so we just want to thank you in advance.
Thank
it really
you.
is fantastic when you comment and stuff.
We love it.
So, of course, before we get into the look backs, and by the way, let's just talk about how we're going to do this week because there's been 4 episodes. We were gone last week because we took a week off, and we really never do that.
No,
together.
we were partying.
Certainly not together.
No, yeah.
So we had stuff to do.
Yeah.
But there is so much catching up to do. So we were going to do one episode and talk about it all, but then we're like, no, let's split it up between the look backs and the talk backs.
Yep. Especially since there's no 90-day episode this week either. So it's like, we just might as well do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So we'll do all of the look backs in one and all of the talk backs in another.
Yeah. And so today we're going to do look backs.
Yep.
Our next episode, which will release on
Wednesday/Thursday.
whatever. At some point, we will talk about the talk backs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just to keep everybody on the same page and know what's coming up for this week. And then we'll be back next week to cover Christine's wedding.
Hopefully.
And also 90 Day Fiancé. But let's talk about that because obviously I don't have like Hulu DVR. I don't have YouTube DVR.
No.
I cut the cable a long time ago.
Yes.
I'm not paying $120, $140 a month to Dish or anybody else so that I can have cable with all these channels I never watch. And so I was really happy for a bit of time that I could just get some apps and stuff. I could get the Peacock app and the Discovery Plus app.
And the Max.
I have all of my
the stuff.
shows.
Yes.
But lo and behold,
all of these episodes released and came out on Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. And then again this past weekend. And they're only available on live TV. And TLC didn't post any of that.
No.
Hasn't said anything. Hasn't responded to any of the fans been commenting. I've been commenting.
You have been up on the TLC Instagram for Reality TV Cringe, just getting up in that TLC ass, and they're hiding your comments.
They are. They're hiding our comments.
Yeah.
It pisses me off because I guess somebody on Reddit contacted Discovery Plus and was like, bitch, where's our shows? And they said, all these episodes, they're specials. They're part of like some bonus season or whatever, and they'll be available on streaming after they've already aired. Which begs the question, because now it's Monday, it's New Year's Day, the last look back released last night. They're still not available on Discovery Plus or Max, which means none of these episodes are probably going to be available until after Christine's wedding specials, which is a 2-parter.
Right. I think the second part of the 2-part for Christine is like the 14th of January. And then they're going to air them. I'm like, what? It feels like TLC made some kind of a mistake.
But they're not fixing it
No,
because
they're
they
not
don't
fixing
care.
it. No, I just
don't get
why
it.
am I spending? And you just upped the price for Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
And I think Max also upped the price as well a couple months ago. So like, why am I spending this money to get, exclusive content and also no commercials when you don't even bother to air the content? And then last season, we were able to get the Sister Wives on Sunday, honey, before 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whenever it airs in our time zone.
Yeah.
We were able to get it during the day.
Yeah.
And they took that away too. So tell me, Raccoons, why I should continue to have Discovery Plus.
Or Max or anything. Like, what's the point of these streaming apps if we don't get any of the perks? You're going to raise the premiums, but then you remove all the perks. And they even fucked around with the one-on-ones. When one-on-one parties part 4 wasn't available right when it aired. It was available like the next day or whatever. So what the fuck? I'm just mad about it.
Like with Peacock, like you get all of the content from Bravo, which is why I have Peacock, but also NBC and all that stuff. But they also have like specials like Ultimate Girls Trip, which you get early, and they create content for the app. That's the incentive for you to want to actually buy the app. And so Discovery Plus, like if you're creating extra bonus content like the talkbacks and the lookbacks are, why aren't you releasing them to your faithful customers first?
Right.
Not just to people who can happen upon it while they're on their cable live TV.
I know. Who even has cable anymore? I mean, I know a lot of raccoons probably have cable, and that's how they were able to watch it. And some people were like, oh, sign up for a free trial of Philo and you can watch them. But I shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
I shouldn't have to sign up for all of this other bullshit just to watch these specials. They should be available to me from these subscriptions. I'm so mad. I've been having to watch like YouTube bootlegged
or the ones
versions
on YouTube where they're like zooming in and zooming out and zooming in and like cutting things in and out. I'm like, oh God, let life be easier for a raccoon. So yeah, we got our hands on
we won't say how
episodes, but we got the episodes. We were able to watch them, but like it would have been super awesome while we're like on vacation, drinking and partying, if we could like pop in and watch. And rage with our cocktails, but we were not able to do that. And so we just want to address that. That really sucks, TLC.
Yeah, it's really lame.
It sucks. Discovery, it sucks, Max. I don't understand what your business decisions are, but I do not approve.
No, not at all.
Ugh. Okay. Now let's get into the look backs. We just watched the second one together, but let's start with the first look back. We are not going to cover absolutely everything because again,
there was a lot
behind the 8 ball. So we've just pulled out some of the things that they were looking back and some of the commentary that seemed particularly interesting for us. But before we get into that, Beatrice, are there any takeaways for you?
I thought that the lookbacks were interesting, although it felt like these were all filmed. I mean, it was obvious. They were all filmed like either right after season 18 or maybe some of them were recycled from season 17. I'm not sure. It would have been nice if they were all present day, like the talkbacks. Like the talkbacks were interesting to me because it felt like it was current and it was their current reactions-ish. More current than what we get, not a whole year.
Yeah, I really want to know when the talkbacks were filmed. And I also want to know when the lookbacks were filmed because it seems like Mary's wearing that kind of pinky purple top. And I think that was the top she was wearing when she came back and commented on Christine outing her about having her ring melted down. And I think that was July 2022.
See, why are we like this?
Was the talk back filmed after that? Was it filmed a little while ago? Because they show Christine's townhome and snow, but this past Christmas, Thanksgiving, she's already married to David Woolley and they're living in their new house. So I'm like, what's going on? I don't know when anything is filmed.
Yeah, I don't know anything. It just feels all cobbled together, all of these.
Right,
so it's
confusing.
A lot. But the look backs, albeit were kind of interesting, them looking back at some of the moments in the season, like kind of like what we're doing with our rewinds. I do kind of like that they did that. I wish the one-on-ones were more structured like that, as opposed to us just watching a rerun of season 18 in the one-on-ones. So some of it was interesting, but some of it was kind of redundant.
Yes, absolutely redundant. My major takeaway is that any suspicions that I had that Robin uses her white lady tears to get out of situations and or to insert herself into situations were absolutely confirmed when she gets up at the beginning of the second look back and walks off. And she also can't watch the scene where Christine is announcing the breakup to the adults because she knows she's going to watch the scene specifically, and Christine is not going to say, I don't want to spend time with you and your kids. Rather, Christine's going to say, I just need some space right now. And then she's going to, I assume she knows people are going to want her to address that. So instead of taking responsibility, she walks out.
It's really interesting to see because it's like there's some moments in all of these specials where I'm like looking at Robin thinking maybe she's getting tired of it or maybe she's kind of waking up to Cody's bullshit. I don't know. But then she does shit like that where it's like you can't take accountability for how you took something way out of proportion and took it way too personally. So it's really bizarre. Like it would have spoke volumes if she watched those scenes back and was like, yeah, I totally misread the situation because I was just all in my feels.
I was spiraling.
It was a lot.
I was feeling the personal rejection of her walking away from the family. Like I clearly misheard that. Would have been so based.
Totes.
And I would have had a smidge of respect for her, but she couldn't watch it.
Nope.
Because she can't take responsibility. And with the talkbacks, which we will talk about again in another episode, like when I see them together on the couch, like bandaging their narc injuries and taking care of their narcissistic selves. And was it okay that I said that? And when she's crying, when everybody else is laughing because Robin's crying, it's Cody who's like holding her.
I know.
I'm like, wow, you guys are delulu.
Totally.
You are stuck in the cycle of your bullshit.
100%. Hella codependent in this toxic cycle together. It's wild.
And so isolated in that dynamic that they can't see what the rest of the family can see and feel. And they can't see what the world actually sees. And so they believe their own bullshit. They're huffing their own farts.
Oh, totally.
For sure.
100%.
Wild to me.
I know.
So that was my takeaway, is that Robin, you're using your non-tears very advantageously to get you out of slippery situations.
Yep.
All right, let's get into our overview of the look backs, starting with the first one. And one of the things that I wanted to begin with was them looking back at the marriages and kind of the dynamic when Robin entered the family. This is where we have Christine kind of saying, that was the first time I kind of felt like that Cody had a soulmate connection with Robin. Like previously, it had felt equal for me with Mary and Janelle. We were all on the same level. But as soon as Robin came in, I could feel something has shifted.
Yeah, which is interesting. Christine keeps saying that, though. She says that about a lot of scenes. Like, oh, this is the first time I realized our marriage wasn't good. Oh, this is the first time I realized he loved Robin. It's like, okay, we get it that you knew and you picked up onto it and everything. But she says that a lot.
She does.
But it is interesting for them to look back at their marriages and see, like what we've all been seeing from the beginning of the series, that he did love the other three, and he had a magical family with all of them. And then when Robin came into the picture, he was like, damn, that breakdancing pussy though is like hypnotizing.
Yes, I had no idea I could love like this before.
Yeah.
And then we get that scene where he's at a date night with Robin, and he says to the camera that, yes, I love Robin, but that does not diminish my love for my other wives. I love them just as much. And there we have Mary say, well, were you lying then or are you lying now? And it seems to me that Mary just feels some kind of way, and why wouldn't you?
Of course.
That he cannot admit at the age of 52 or 53 that he loved these women. Now, yes, there's a difference in the way that he felt that love and experienced it.
Of course.
But that doesn't negate the fact that he loved these women. And you're invalidating, Mary is saying, I'm speaking for her, you're invalidating my life.
Yeah.
When you tell me that you never loved me.
Right.
You're invalidating our child. You're invalidating our experience, our home life, all of our children.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand the ramifications of saying that. I wish you would just phrase it differently. I understand you fell out of love with me.
Right.
I understand things changed, but you loved me.
Yes. And I think he's telling the truth when he says he isn't in love with the wives, because I think once he met Robin, he started falling out of love with all of them. He realized, oh shit, like this is the real connection. This is the real deal. But he was like, what he was doing was putting on an act for a while after Robin came into the picture. And that's what all of the wives felt energetically when that happened. That's why Christine got jealous. That's why Mary got a little overbearing, maybe a little clingy, because she's like, shit, I was supposed to be the favorite wife. I was supposed to be the OG. And now you've got this new bitch that I helped bring into the family. What about me? So I think like Cody is kind of telling the truth when he says like, I fell out of love with them and blah, blah, blah. But he's, again, like you said, invalidating the 20 years prior to that where he was actually in love. He's acting like that whole shit was a farce this
like
whole
both
entire
of those
time.
Things can be true, that you loved them and that you don't love them now. Like,
yes.
That's what happens when relationships fall apart. But you have to frame it in such a way. And Mary even says he's disclaiming his love for us to justify his current narrative.
Yes.
You have to frame it this way so that you don't have to take responsibility for your portion of what happened and how you destroyed relationships.
Yes. Yes. He wants to blame everybody else because, of course, like the shame that he would have to take on would be crazy. It would be so much. But like, grow up, dude.
Yeah.
You're Atlas, right? You have the world on your shoulders. You have to fucking carry that responsibility. He just doesn't want to because that would be a lot.
Yeah. And I have to wonder because it sounds and feels like they do watch the episodes back as they're happening.
Yeah.
So I have to wonder what Cody actually thinks of Janelle repeatedly having said, like, okay, cool, dude, you have a soulmate, but you still have these other wives, you still have these other children, and the tenet of our religion states that you've got to find a way to manage those other relationships so that there are no favorites and so that these families can stay together.
Yeah.
That's your responsibility. And we kind of get to that when we get to the Sedona trip. Let me bounce around if that's a little.
That's
okay.
fine. Who cares?
The Sedona trip where they go with Nancy for some marriage counseling, which sounds like a Dantean lair of hell.
Oh, it sounds absolutely
Jesus
awful.
Crackers. No, thank you. Ooh. And we see Cody not wanting to be in the center of the wives
circles.
So
yeah.
To give some context, if you haven't watched, because I never saw that season.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So I didn't know what was going on. But the therapist asked the wives to kind of position themselves physically around how close they are to Cody, right?
Yeah, to represent how they feel in their current marriages with them. And so like Robin's right next to Cody, Mary's right next to Robin, which is weird. Janelle's on the other side of Cody, and then Christine ends up being behind Cody,
right,
which is really sad and heartbreaking. Right. And then I think they were supposed to get together of like what they envisioned their family to be like. Christine and Janelle and probably Mary were like, Cody, be in the middle.
Right.
And he's like, no, I don't want to do that because then my attention would be focused on one wife.
Or I've got spikes coming into me. And in order for you to have a relationship with that wife, you've got to go through me. But like then you get base Janelle saying, no, you should be at the center of the wheel.
Yes.
You are the thing that connects us all. Like she always puts that spiritual spin on where his mind should be.
Yes. She always calls him out on his shit.
She does. And she called him out.
Yes.
I loved Janelle.
Me too.
I loved Mary.
Oh, me too.
Throughout all of this. I thought Mary was like so solid.
Yes.
And she wasn't rude where I thought maybe Christine was a little bit dramatic.
She's a little petty.
A little tingy of rude, but I get it.
Yeah.
But I thought Janelle was great. I thought Mary was great.
Oh, yeah. And you can tell Mary's been in some therapy, which I'm very happy about because she's just talking about all of the shit. She's like not getting overly emotional. Like, even though it's very painful to have to watch all of this shit back and they talk about this and look back part 2, but like Mary's really calling it out for what it is. And same thing with Janelle. Janelle's based as hell.
Janelle is over. She's like, I could care less if I never see this man again in my life. I'm over it. I do have to ask you before we move on from this flashback, what did you think of Robin saying that she would not have come into the family if she saw Cody having favorites?
Look, I want to believe that Robin has those intentions and like didn't want Cody to have favorites and everything like that, but she ended up his favorite. Like she's looking at the family and saying, oh, he didn't have any favoritism. Yeah, he didn't
yet
until you came into the family.
Right.
And then you let that happen. And I mean, I understand why she does let it happen because she's in love with him too. She wants this relationship with him. All of the wives want to be the object of Cody's affection. So that's a normal thing. But Robin, the way you went about it and then acted like you were a victim this whole entire time because the wives were mean to you.
Well, her conscience is clean, Beatrice.
I
know my own intentions. I can go to heaven. I can meet my maker and I will feel just fine because I know what I did and didn't do.
Girl, come on.
No, there's nowhere for you to take responsibility.
None at all.
There's no percentage that we might be able to ascribe to you, Queen Robin.
Which is crazy.
It is really crazy.
Absolutely
Having
crazy.
been divorced at least 10,000 times myself and having some, problematic relationships, I can take all the responsibility.
Yeah.
Well, I have to because I left.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I have to.
You have
can't be an adult. And she's 45 years old.
Yep.
Saying, my conscience is clean. I did everything right. I never tried to wrong any of these women. I'm going to go to God and feel good about it. I sleep great at night. Thanks.
No, that's not how relationships work. That's not how friendships work. It takes two to fucking tango. You had your own fucking faults in all of these relationships. You had your own faults with your friendships with these wives. Like, don't act like
it was all them.
All them. Yeah. I just can't.
I'm so
conscious is clear.
I really get so frustrated. Then we move on to the flashbacks around the wedding dress shopping.
Girl.
And Robin says, I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong. I picked the dress. Cody can say whatever he wants, but that was my dress. Both experiences were valid. The experience that I had with the ladies, I really did want to include them because I saw my mother be cast aside in her plural marriage, and I would never want to do that to the OGs. So I created and manufactured an experience which was not real because I'd already chosen my dress because I went shopping with Cody, but I did nothing wrong.
And I was talking about this with Ethel actually, and she called out Robin for this, for saying her mom talked to her about plural marriage and how to be a plural wife and blah, blah, blah. Robin never lived polygamy.
No.
Like she never grew up in it, like never lived it like Christine did, like Mary did. So she's full of fucking shit when she says that. Like, yeah, you could have saw your mom be the least favorite wife and you didn't want that to happen. And I do think that if Cody didn't open his big fat mouth about the wedding dress thing, it could have been fine because the other wives didn't necessarily have to know any of that. It would have
Robin
protected.
said, I didn't want them to know.
Exactly. And so I don't think that that was purely malicious for Robin to be like, I didn't want them to know.
Right.
She was trying to kind of balance it all out, like the Libra that she is. But Cody fucked it up.
Oh my God.
And then still acts like it wasn't that big of a deal. Like he's like, that was the happiest time of my life. And
but there was still a lot of pain.
so much pain. Well,
and Christine was being irrational in the moment. And Janelle, in current day year of our Lord 2023, says, yeah, that was a dick move.
It was.
Like, you wasted our time. You know, Janelle's all about being practical.
Yes.
She's like, you know, I got shit to do.
I gotta
Don't
work.
drag me down and take me wedding dress shopping, if like this isn't a real experience.
Yeah.
I'm interested if it's real, but if it's not, I'm not into it.
right.
And that's how anybody would feel. And that's how Mary felt as well.
Yeah.
But even to this day, they don't think they did anything wrong.
Which is wild to me.
But I mean, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Then we get to the flashback where they move to Vegas. They're making their adjustments. We have family prayer. There's an emphasis on how they huddle together and they work through their issues and they take them to God. And we see Cody with a lot of optimism and I would say spiritual innocence, like really depending and believing in God for their family.
Yeah.
And then we also have a flashback of Robin and Cody announcing Solomon's conception.
Yes.
So there were some interesting things that came out of that. First and foremost, Mary's like, yeah, we stopped praying a long time ago.
Which is really sad.
Years ago.
That's really sad. So, and we know from season 18, it was revealed that they also stopped doing like their Friday night dinners and stuff with the family. So like once they moved to Vegas and they became separate, they stopped doing all of the things that could bring them together.
Right.
So yeah, of course, it's like a recipe for fucking disaster. And this is when Janelle, I'm bopping around to part 2 of the look back when they have their little polygamist meeting and everything in Flagstaff, and how Janelle says that I think all of our problems stemmed from when we moved to Vegas. And Robin takes that personally.
Right.
Well, is it because of me?
It's like, can we address the pink elephant? Back to me.
It's not because of you. It's
Right.
because you guys separated and lived in a bunch of different houses several blocks away from each other, and
Right.
you guys didn't do anything to stay together.
God.
Common fucking sense.
Enough about me. Let's get back to me.
Yeah, exactly.
We also hear Robin saying that she's done a lot of work over the years to get over the reaction from some of the family when she announced being pregnant with Solomon. So she means specifically Hunter. She probably means Leon because Leon had a big reaction.
Yeah, the
I think
teens.
Aspen. Yeah, the older kids because they're over this shit.
Yep.
We have enough children. I remember when we couldn't even have dinner and we were hungry. I remember the poverty in which we lived. And now you're going to bring another child into the situation. I'm not saying it's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but they're kids and they're entitled to that opinion, Robin. And you've been stewing on this shit for years.
Taking shit that a teenager said or did to you personally, like grow the fuck up, first of all. And second of all, I think it was Janelle that called this out. And she's like, well, our kids had to go through a lot of change in a short amount of time. Like none of the OG kids had to deal with a new wife coming on. Like this was the first time that the whole family brought on a new wife. Like otherwise it was just the
Right.
3. So they didn't know any different. So they had that on top of moving to fucking Vegas in 2 days notice, leaving all of their friends and family, and then having to be in separate houses for everything. So cut the kids some slack. I don't understand how Robin can take what these teenagers do personally.
Well, her victimhood is her identity. But you bring up a good point because in one of these specials, they talk about how it's unusual that a man will take on another wife before he has children with the first wife. And the fact that Cody took on all 3 of his wives before there were any children. And so all the children really ever did know was the family structure and the parents that they had.
Yes.
And so of course, Robin's going to come in with all her kids and it's going to be an adjustment. And the fact that Robin still holds that grudge is petty as hell.
It's ridiculous, honestly. As a
Grow up.
grown-ass woman.
Grow up.
Ridiculous.
All right, next flashback. We see some scenes of Cody's relationship with the OG wives in the beginning. Then we have the IVF discussion with Mary.
Yeah.
We see Cody very plainly saying that he loves Mary for her sense of adventure. They're showing him in Mexico and kind of the experiences that they've had. We see Janelle and Cody out on a hike, and then on the couch, they're both saying to each other, I love you more now than I ever did before. We also see Christine and Cody doing paintball, doing a helicopter ride. Now, they do allude to the fact that they've had like a hard year and some ups and downs. And then we get a cut in from 2023 of Cody saying, see, we had ups and downs. It was a drag the entire time. I never loved her.
Oh my God.
Okay, calm down.
He's compensating.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What I thought was super interesting when they get around to the IVF conversation with Mary is when she's like, yeah, it's probably for the best that we didn't have a child, because imagine if I had a child right now who is 15 years old, how would Cody treat that child?
He wouldn't. He would ignore him.
And she knows it. She's essentially saying the quiet part. Well, she's not saying the quiet part. She should. What she's saying is, I see how he's treating all these other kids. And if I had a kid and he doesn't even speak to me, I don't ever even see him, how would he be treating my kid right now?
Right. So, I mean, I liked that she had that self-realization. I thought it was sad when they looked back at that scene, because it was this scene like when they were in Vegas, and Mary talks about how at that point in time she was going to tell him she was ready to do IVF.
Right.
And Cody just straight up out the gate was like, yeah, I don't want to do that with you. I actually would hate doing that, which is so sad, because in like season 1, when they're going to Mexico, he's the one that's like, let's do IVF. And Mary's like, no.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, when she warms up to it, because she would be the one going through it, then he's like, nah, just kidding. I've got Robin. I'm making babies with her. It's all good.
Very sad.
Yeah.
So we leave this first look back talking about the catfishing. We see some scenes from the catfishing. We see Cody saying currently that he's pissed about the affair that Mary had. So he's still angry.
Very
that
angry.
She had the audacity to try and step out on him. But he also says that she's never admitted that it was an affair because she wants to be the victim. She has to be the victim. But it was an affair. Then we see Mary saying it was not an affair.
I mean, Mary.
But then she kind of segues into, but at the same time, like, Cody neglected me. Like, we'd go to bed and he'd actually sleep with his back to me, or he wouldn't even look at me. So what she's saying is, I spent a long time, and she said this before as well, I spent a long time being neglected and emotionally abandoned by Cody.
Yep.
And then I found myself in a situation that was problematic. So tell me how you feel about this.
Well, again, I talked about this with Ethel, and her and I had a huge discussion on like whether or not it was wrong of her to do this whole catfishing thing. And it's like, I don't obviously condone cheating in a marriage, and I do kind of consider it a little bit of cheating. However, given the situation, I totally understand why Mary would have done that. I totally understand how she would have felt so abandoned and neglected by her husband, who probably wasn't fucking her for years.
No.
Not being affectionate, not being loving, totally neglecting her this entire time, making her feel absolutely worthless. Her going online and talking to some rando hot guy and sending banana pics because she just wants to feel special and feel loved.
Of course.
And for Cody to react the way that he does still to this day, to be so angry and betrayed by it because it damages his ego, is just fascinating to me, because I'm like, wow, you really can't see that you were such a shitty husband that your wife would turn to somebody else.
Well, he kind of does, because he's like, yeah, maybe she had a reason to kick me out of the house.
But then he goes right back to his bullshit.
Right back to his bullshit. But I'm just like, but you understand that there was a reason she asked you not to come back. But when she asked him not to come back or not come to the house or don't sleep over, I think she was in her full blown catfish encounter.
Okay.
So I feel like, Mary, you had an emotional affair, honey. Yeah. It was with a woman, and that's incredibly embarrassing even now, 8 years later. But just admit that if Sam were real, a real gentleman who was a businessman and handsome as hell, you would have been out the door. Because I remember when you all were in Alaska, you were trying to prep the family for your departure. You're like, I don't even know if I'm going to stay. You guys really can't count on me to be here. And everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? Although Robin knows.
Yeah.
And Cody knows, because Robin's got her homegirl, Kendra, feeding her information. But if you can just admit, Mary, that you were willing to leave the family and that you had an emotional affair, you were deceived, but it was an affair. I think it would go a long way with a lot of us.
Agreed.
But
100%.
Not Cody Brown, because he'll never get over it.
No, he won't at all. I do agree with that. There seems to be a lot of that in this family, of these people like not willing to be honest with themselves for their own behavior.
They get
interesting.
Right up to the line of honesty and transparency, and then they run back like Homer Simpson, back into the hedges we go. All right, moving on to the look back number 2, how it's going. We start here with the commitment ceremony, and actually the last look back, we kind of ended with the commitment ceremony.
The cliffhanger.
Right, so we're watching the commitment ceremony from when they're in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And we start with Robin beginning to watch this clip, and then she is so overcome with emotion that she starts to have a panic attack.
Whatever.
She's like, I cannot watch this. I gotta go.
Such a fucking cop out. Like, you're just doing that just to not react to the actual scene. Because she leaves, and then she doesn't even have a comment about it. She just says, it's too hard. It's too hard to watch it.
And she just moves on to the next thing. Then we hear from Christine, and she's like, that was a really good day.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm not in the family anymore. I realized that shit was hard when I was there, but like, there were good times, there were good days, and that was a good day.
Yeah.
We also have Mary saying, I'm just mad because we had it all.
Yep. And we didn't honor our commitments. We failed.
Right.
We wouldn't fucking work on anything, and we didn't honor our commitments, our spirituality, or nothing. Our family mission statement. It was all a lie, basically, is how she's feeling.
Right.
And I felt that, because watching that back, it's kind of like watching the John and Nate plus Kate marriage vow renewal thing or whatever. It's like, that was all a farce just for TV. I wonder if TLC put them up to something like this.
Maybe they probably funded it, but it feels to me, especially as they're watching it back, like that had a lot of meaning for them.
Yeah.
And it is really sad that the entire family is currently fractured, even though I guess he's talking to Garrison. We'll get to that.
Kind of.
I was like, what? That's a shock?
Yeah.
After this, we get a flashback of the whole legal divorce situation. And of course, at some point, Mary makes the decision. She sacrifices her legal interests, her financial, her monetary, and her love interests so that Robin can become Cody's legal wife and Cody can adopt his kids. And so we watch that all play out in the flashback, only to have Cody then say that Mary didn't want to give up the marriage because she was on some kind of power trip.
Yeah. She held on to that position of the first marriage. It's like, oh my God, dude, how disconnected can you be from reality right now without like needing to be committed to a mental institution? I swear to God, so fucking delusional.
I'm like, how can you look at the playback of that and hearing what Mary is saying, that I'm doing this for the family, I'm doing this for the children.
Yeah.
And come away with that, talking about Mary being on a power trip, especially when we see other clips of you during the talk back and even the season where you're referring to Mary as a friend. Like, you're trying to create something new with Mary so that you can have a friendship, but you're going to say that was a power trip. Like, that is so fucked up. And then he's like, yeah. And then after the divorce, she started doing that catfishing.
Yeah, because after the legal divorce, you stopped going over to her fucking house.
A shit. Yep.
That's all it was. Like, you only used her when you needed her to do shit for you. Like, you telling her on your guys' Flagstaff anniversary, oh, we have hope and cheers to new beginnings. And then she sells her house and gives the proceeds to Robin. And then after that, you're like, we're done. So that's all it was for him.
Yeah.
And then he wonders why she got
right.
catfished.
Right.
God forbid.
Yeah, because if he did that to her in Flagstaff, if he gave her false hope and took her money, I can absolutely see the run up to the legal divorce, him blowing sunshine up her ass so she would say yes to it.
Yep.
Then he gets what he wants and then he dumps her. Not actually, he just stops any shred that he gave her of love and affection, gone.
Yeah. Which is wild to me. Now, do you think Robin actually put her up to the legal divorce? Because it seemed like in that scene, she was genuinely sad for Mary.
Oh, I think it's all just orchestrated, manipulated event. I think that, again, two things can be true at the same time. I think Robin has the capacity to feel gratitude that Mary is sacrificing in this way. But at the same time, she's just got her fucking eye on the prize. Legal wife, financial interest.
Yep.
My kids first, my time first. So I feel like that's always happening all the time with Robin.
Totally.
Yes. Okay, next flashback, we talk about the conversation ground rules. This is where they all go out. This is during COVID, so they're all socially distancing outside on Coyote Pass.
So dumb.
Whatever. Get a vaccine if you're so concerned about it, Cody. Why aren't you vaccinated? Whatever. So they're sitting there, and this is where Cody makes the statement that essentially he feels like his entire family is an obstacle to his goals and to his happiness. And I guess this is one of the moments of clarity for everybody that Cody's fucking gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. He's no longer going to be Atlas. He's not going to be carrying this. Y'all hate each other. You don't want one house. I don't want to deal with you anymore.
Which is crazy to me. I don't understand how you can't, like, you don't have the desire to want to bring your family back together. You're just looking at the conflict and thinking, oh, well, they want me to fix it. I can't fix it, so fuck them all.
I don't want to fix it.
I don't want to fix it at all.
I don't want to have to do my spiritual duty that Janelle keeps bringing up, which would require me to put effort, time, love, and energy into these other households. I'm not into it. I don't want to do it, so fuck you. And he uses terms like values. We don't share the same values, which Janelle calls out and says, yeah, that's just code for you don't share the values that I have with Robin about COVID, about family, about everything else.
100%.
Yes.
He's deluded.
He is deluded. Mary says, yeah, he's already checked out. Like by the time we're having this conversation together, even though it seems like a moment of clarity for Janelle and for Christine, I can see that he's gone.
Which is really sad. I mean, I think he checked out long before COVID. I just think once COVID hit and he was spending all of his time with Robin, he was just like, wow, why do I even bother with like trying to make the effort?
Most of those kids are already older.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones are going to be older, so I'm just gonna stay here and enjoy my life doing what I want to do.
And you know, this happened with a lot of families during COVID. Like a lot of families had issues with each other because once they became so distant because of all of the lockdowns and all of that stuff and quarantines, like people realized, oh shit, like I don't even want to have a relationship with my family. So that's what we're seeing in real time with the Browns. Like Cody's just like, fuck y'all,
right?
I don't want to be around y'all. I'm happy with Robin and my surrogate kids, you know, to make my family happy.
And another thing that was happening during that time was just like the political lines that were being drawn in families. Like you're dead to me if you voted for that guy, or I don't want to go to Thanksgiving ever again if you voted for this guy. And like, so there was so much dissension and polarization. So I kind of wonder what was happening in the family around that, because I think we have a bit of a spectrum politically and socially. And so Cody seems very, I don't know, red state to me.
A little bit, but I've been seeing on Reddit, like some people are calling Robin out for like being into Wicca stuff and like witch stuff.
What, bitch?
No, seriously.
What?
I don't know. It's Reddit. Okay.
What?
So I'm not going to give it any credence, but yeah, people are saying like from some of the shit that she has in her house, all of the hoarder stuff, all the crystals and shit, that she might be dabbling into alternative forms of spirituality. Yeah, which would be interesting because Cody's like abandoning his plural marriage faith and possibly his fundamentalist Mormon faith. I don't know. When he went on that Mormonism Live thing, he was talking about his faith a lot and how he was like not wanting to be a part of this Mormonism stuff anymore.
I cannot see it
I'm
for
just
Robin.
saying.
And when I tell you, just trust me, I'm acquainted with the woo-woo of it all
You
and
are.
the woo-woo
She
community.
is.
Like, I just don't see that in her at all, other than her amethyst wings. But
That's
they're
what I'm
in
saying.
but they're in Arizona. You've got that gem show down in Tucson.
Yeah, and there's a
every
lot
year.
of metaphysical new agey
There
shit
are,
there.
but I just can't see that.
I'm just saying, what if?
That
would be
that is
crazy.
so left field for
I
me.
know.
Okay. In the next flashback, we get the Cody and Mary breakup, but I don't know why they're calling it a breakup, because this was I want to say this was the 2021 anniversary. So, oh God.
This was the Flagstaff one.
Flagstaff was in 2019, where he's like, "Here's to new beginnings."
That's right.
Let me get your money, bitch.
So then this is the breakup then.
No, because that didn't happen until 2022.
I thought it happened in 2021, no?
No.
Okay, I don't know. I can't fucking keep any of this straight.
Oh, maybe it's 2021, honey. I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm in a fugue state at this point with all of the information going on. Maybe it was 2021, but I don't think it was the last anniversary where he tells her in no uncertain terms, "Bitch, get out of my life."
Yeah.
It was the one before that, or the one before that, where he takes her out on some dumb drive.
Right.
And this is where Mary's like, "Yeah, I didn't really know what was happening, because on the one hand, he's like, you're not courting me, Mary." And then right after that, he's like, "And I'm not coming. So do you want me to court you? Is there something I can do to incentivize you to come?"
Yeah.
Ah.
Papa.
When you put it that way. So she's just talking about being confused in that moment when they apparently break up.
Which is like kind of hard for me, because I feel like Mary says that a lot. Like,
Yeah.
granted, Cody is kind of confusing because he does change up his stories a lot, and he says a bunch of bullshit, and he is a narc and a manipulator. But I wish like Mary would take a little bit of ownership for herself and just be like, yeah, I was really holding on to something that wasn't there. I was just in denial at this point in time because this is my husband of 32 years and I didn't want to give up on anything.
Absolutely.
And that's totally fair and valid.
Yep.
But like Mary just always uses that excuse like, well, it's confusing. I don't know.
He's speaking out both sides of his mouth.
Yeah. He's like, he told me he didn't want anything to do with me. But then, I don't know. It sounded like he wanted something to do with me.
Yeah, but then when we're like doing the talk back, I think it's that scene, or maybe it was the look back, honey. I don't even remember. Well, when Jen is joining her, they're out at Coyote Pass. And Cody's like, "Okay, so we're broken up, but do you want to go walk the property?" And then Janelle says something like, "Watch him closely."
Yeah.
Because he's looking for an angle to get more real estate, which is just a term she's using, but she's right. He wants the real estate, or to get more purchase from Mary. So he's saying we're broken up, but at the same time, hey, let's continue to look at all the ways in which our lives can intersect. And that's when Jen calls him out. And she's like, "So no wonder you were confused for 10
years.
Yeah. So I can totally see him giving her mixed signals.
Yes.
And so then when they go to Cody to talk about the breakup, all he does is say, "Well, all Mary wants to do is blame me. She only blames me."
It always comes down to blame because he thinks that any type of criticism for him is blame rather than an opportunity for him to grow and be a better human being.
Right.
Now you're just going to be a crotchety old man with a small fucking shriveled up dick, bald ass hair, and you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life.
Judgy.
What I'm saying.
So judgy.
It's true.
But like there was that one moment when he's bending down to get the iPad or something, and his hair was falling in such a way so as to reveal at least 3 very significant bald sections of his head. And I'm like, dude, I don't think you want to do that. I think you should sit up and like arrange your curls.
It's really
because you're hella bald. Could you just shave? You can't capitulate to any, if it seems like it could even hint at a little bit of weakness or lack of virility, you can't do it.
No.
Shave your fucking head. Be a David Woolley.
No, he loves his head. He loves his hair, I mean.
Honey, he's wild.
Yeah.
And then they have that flashback too. I didn't really write out a whole lot for it, but when the women are talking about how when Cody dies, they'll have a girl party and they'll actually maybe be closer and able to be friends when he's not in the middle of it, fucking everything up.
Right.
And on the couch, he's like, "Fuck you.
Fuck you, bitches.
I gotta die in order for you guys to get along. I gotta be dead." I'm like, Yes.
Yes.
It's exactly what we're saying to you, Cody. You fuck everything up.
I mean, you do with your favoritism and your bullshit. And it's like, what do you want, Cody? Do you want these wives to be BFFs, or do you want them to be loyal to you only and to not like you? Like, he goes back and forth with that. He's blaming Christine for being a shit sister wife when she's literally saying, like, no, we can have a good relationship without you in the mix.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right? It's just like...
Yes, it's insanity.
Oy.
Next flashback is Cody and Christine in the Mormon conference room at the big Mormon table, breaking up officially.
Yeah.
And this was interesting to me. And the reason I included this was because Cody was actually saying, like, it hasn't been all bad. When we were in Lehigh, it was a magical, wonderful time.
Okay.
And it's Christine who's like, Cody,
Yeah.
it's been bad for a very long time.
Yeah.
And she's like, why do you want to hang on to it? And she's like, do you want to be married to me? And Cody doesn't answer because he's afraid of being weak and vulnerable and saying, yes, I do. Instead, he's like, well, do you want to be married to me? And she's like, no.
No, I don't. And then he says, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And then on the couch, he's like, well, in polygamy and in our church, the men are not allowed to give up. Because if we want to give up on a marriage or we don't like a wife, we go to our spiritual elders and they tell us to work it out. So it's like...
And then he says, which means I'm the prisoner here.
Yes.
I'm the prisoner here.
What the fuck?
Oh. Cody also says that he was grateful that Christine could be brave. And out of the two of them, she's the one who ended it. And then we have Christine just gushing endlessly. She's like, that was the best fucking day of my life. I took back my power.
Yeah.
And my self-worth.
Yeah.
And I took back my life. And we love that for you, Christine.
Yeah.
And we get it. We understand. And then the flashback, honey, of Christine announcing to the rest of the adults in this relationship that she's piecing the fuck out.
The knife and the kidneys.
And here again, Robin refuses to watch the clip. And at the top of this episode with y'all, I said the reason she does not want to sit and watch this clip is because she is going to see what she's already seen, and she knows.
Oh, yeah.
That Christine never said she did not want a relationship with Robin's kids. Or with Robin, for that matter.
She just said she needed space.
She just said, I need space. But Robin gets up and she's going to have another panic attack, and she doesn't watch the clip so that she doesn't have to take responsibility, which is weak fucking sauce, Robin.
Yep. And I really hate how the network just allowed that to happen. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we won't make you answer the hard questions, even though that's what all of the fans want to hear.
Yes.
God forbid.
100%. You could have said, okay, don't watch it, but can we at least address the part where Christine never said that shit, though?
Yep. That's it.
I
That's
mean,
all it
but
has
no,
to
we
be.
can't hold anybody's feet to the fire.
Nope.
We have a somewhat candid confession from Mary here where she's like, you know, now I feel okay to talk about this. I didn't at the time, but she actually validated what you and I have been saying for a long time. She's like, I was in the middle. I'm not on Janelle and Christine's team. I don't have a friendship with those ladies like they have with each other. And I'm also not on Cody and Robin's team either, but I want to be married to Cody in this moment. And so I feel like I have to show my allegiance to Cody.
Yes.
She's like, I felt so in the middle in that moment. So what did you think about that revelation?
I thought that was based. And I mean, you can tell it on Mary's face. Like, yeah, she kind of had a stank ass face, you know, during that scene and everything. And she looked very pissed, but she was also feeling a lot. And she even says on the couch when she reacts to it that, you know, I didn't agree with everything that Christine did, but I definitely don't agree with how Cody handled everything and what he did. So I'm glad that she was able to take ownership for that and kind of explain herself, because we had kind of been theorizing like, come on, Mary, you're not going to say anything. You're just going to be fucking sitting there and just be a bitch the whole time. But I get it, though. Like, now that she says it. And this is where, Robin, if you could have reacted authentically to these scenes, maybe we could have understood you. Like, you and Cody in the talkbacks are talking about how nobody knows you and nobody gets you. It's like, well, yeah, because you're showing us that you're kind of a bitch and you
don't tell the truth.
Exactly.
And you don't
you're
open
shady.
your house to us so that we can see your wick and craft.
And you're not honest.
Right.
So if you would have been honest, maybe more people could have respected you. Nobody's going to respect Cody because nobody fucking likes him.
He's not respectable.
Yes.
But the best part to me, honey, was when Janelle said, this is what Cody does, though. Like, anytime Robin perceives that she's being slighted in any way, which, by the way, is 24/7.
All the time.
365 days a year, honey. Anytime she thinks she's being slighted, he gets upset and he jumps up to defend her. And so the reason his reaction was as big and as crazy as it was because he thought that Robin was hurt by what Christine was saying.
Which is crazy. Like how he is so codependent on Robin and just wants to rescue her all the time because he is in love with her. Right. He is genuinely in love with her. He's going to defend her tooth and nail, even if the situation is wrong. And I did like how Janelle called him out for being a dickhead for saying the sacrifice that I made to love you. She's like, I would have decked his ass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
bitch.
you.
Thank you.
I'm not the only one wanting to pull out the nunchucks and the brass knuckles. Somebody work this guy over. Then we get to the Janelle and Cody fight. And now it's Cody's turn to not be accountable and watch himself back for the ass that he absolutely is. And so he's like, I'm not going to watch that. He starts giving his producer some shit.
Which is pretty interesting because he said that this is his breakup with Janelle is as painful as it was with him and Christine. I'm like, okay, that's interesting for you to say that these are painful, which means that you did love these women, right?
Or you felt that you lost something when they left.
Mm-hmm. But you're saying you didn't love them, so why would it be painful?
Well, I mean, he was doing some word salad weirdness when he was saying something like, I'm just coming to terms right now with the fact that my relationship with Janelle wasn't working or wasn't what I thought it was.
That we weren't good together.
Yeah, like let me decode that for you. I'm just trying to figure out how I can, in a realistic way, spin this so it's all entirely Janelle's fault. And plus, I never loved her anyway. So like, I'm still trying to work that out. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's why he says Janelle wasn't loyal. That's literally all he has. Even though we all see it for what it is, she's been one of the most loyal
Turbo
wives.
loyal.
Like, so
100% loyal.
You're just full of shit. You can't call her out on anything because Janelle has been a good wife to you and a semi-good sister wife.
I mean, even throughout these various and sundry specials, Janelle's like, Mary is the loyalist of them all.
Yes.
She keeps her word. She's very honor bound. Like
yes.
no matter what her relationship is with Mary or anybody else, she's very, very fair and she's a truth teller. And she can sit there and she can watch that fight back and she can comment on it. But he can't because he knows he's a piece of shit.
100%.
This is the section where we learn from Janelle that the conversation never happened between Cody and Gabe and Garrison because there's supposed to be a conversation in order to clear the air and then we can get everything back on track. Well, that hasn't happened, although Garrison apparently does have some kind of a relationship with him. But again, when was this filmed? Was this filmed in July? Who knows where they stand right now?
Well, and it's probably only a relationship because Garrison's the only one initiating it. It's probably not Cody doing any kind of work at all in a relationship with Garrison. It's probably Garrison being a kid wanting to talk with his dad and trying to make these efforts, kind of like with McKelty, like ignoring all of the shitty things that their dad has done because they crave the love and attention from their dad because they're children. So he
doesn't deserve it. I
No.
mean, in the talkbacks, which we are going to get to, he's like, I'm very engaged with my children. I mean, especially if they engage with me. I mean, he's just, I can't imagine even being a full-blown adult like Logan and watching this back and just being like, who
the fuck are you?
Is this person?
Yep.
We have Robin asking the rest of the family, who are you people? But truly, who is Cody?
I mean, really?
Where are you? You're lost in the cosmos.
Yes. In your quest for fame. Like he got lost in all of this shit because he had such a big ego when they started this whole show. Then he started making money off of it. And then he had this beautiful new wife, Robin, that all he wanted to do is spend his time with. Like he totally lost himself in his ego and all of his bullshit. And it's really sad to see because now you've destroyed all of your relationships with everybody.
Yes. And you can kind of see that to an extent, Mary still cares about him because I think in the talk back, she actually tells Jen, like, I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who this person is, but like he is getting some major backlash from the world.
Yeah.
And how does he deal with this? How does a narcissist deal with a constant stream of negative feedback other than hide from it, which obviously this is what they're doing. They're isolating and hiding from it, but he can't escape it.
Nope.
That's why he won't watch it, and neither will Robin. It's interesting to me that out of everybody, those are the two that won't watch some clips.
Yep, because it's too hard.
We end this look back on Coyote Pass, in the final goodbye. And we have Mary saying that she just wishes that Cody would admit that he loved her and the other wives, because again, this invalidates her entire life and experience. Then we bop on over to Cody, who says, she beat the love out of me in our first year of marriage.
He said he had to get other wives because he knew he didn't want to be married to this woman.
To dilute the marriage with Mary.
Which is crazy because he didn't marry Janelle until 3 years after he was with Mary. So was it the first year of marriage or was it the first 3? Like, I thought you guys had a good relationship going.
Can we talk about what happened? Because also after the catfish, when they're in therapy, Cody alludes to the fact that she broke his trust from way before. Like she did something to him. They don't say what it is, but it sounds like something happened. But at the same time, I'm like, you guys blow so much fucking smoke. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about at any time anyway.
I know.
But for him to say that as we're concluding, and as Mary, all Mary says, I just wish he'd admit it, that he loves me and that he loved me. You know, it's okay that you fell out of love with me.
Yep.
But don't change the entire story. And he still can't give her that.
Nope. And all the wives are asking for that, really. I mean, even Janelle and Christine say the same shit. Like, why don't you just admit that you loved us? Because we felt like you loved us. So,
well,
like,
Janelle doesn't even need it. She's like, I don't care. He loved us.
No, she don't
I
care.
mean, duh. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Cody leaves this by saying there were no victims. And I'm like, I beg your pardon. What about all of your children?
And the wives, too. I mean.
And the women who now, like fucking Janelle, who has nothing.
Yep,
and
no assets.
That are walking away with nothing or so little. And then we get the final scene with Robin, who's like, we fucked up.
This was based.
We screwed up.
Yep.
We let fear drive us. We let anger drive us. We held on to grudges. We ruined this beautiful thing. We screwed up. And I'm like,
thank you.
Yes.
I did like that. And I do believe that from Robin. I do think she's right in that. And I liked the editing because when she talks about like we let selfishness get to us, the producers pan it on to Cody. When we let jealousy get to us, she pans it off to, or the producers pan it off to Christine. So it's like, it's the whole family and like all of the adults. So I do think like, I think all of the onus is on Cody and Robin for like how they handled everything, but also like the wives too. Like there was a lot that needed to be unpacked, like Christine's jealousy, Mary's abandonment, Janelle's financial abuse, like all of this stuff needed to be worked on, and it needed to be worked on together. And Cody and Robin were the ones that didn't want to do that. But I thought that was interesting that Robin has that hindsight. Like we're the ones that failed.
Yeah, but she still can't. She still has to hide in the group.
Yeah.
And she still has to hide her hand and her part in it because she's unable to see it and she's unable to admit it. But see, out of the two of them, right, out of Cody and Robin, I feel like she has the capacity to know exactly what the fuck she has done, which is why she walks away from the clip and will not watch it because then she'll have to admit it. Whereas Cody really seems lost in his ignorance and his dumbness. Like he's believing his own bullshit.
Yep. Huffing his own farts.
Yep. He does not know how to like get away from his own narrative. And he needs that narrative so badly because if he doesn't have the story, he'll have to look at himself as he truly is and see what the rest of us see. And it's a vile, small little man who has destroyed his entire family and broken his children's heart.
Yep. And denies that.
Yep.
Denies it. He would crumble if he had to take on all of that responsibility because he's put up this huge big old facade, like this big ego that protects him from all of the hard stuff. But if he actually had to admit it, he would just implode on himself, I think. I mean, unless he had like actual intensive therapy where his therapist could talk him through it and everything, but he won't be able to admit it.
You can't therapize an arc, honey.
No,
you can't therapize an arc. And I really honestly believe as a non-professional shit stirring troll on the internet that man's an arc.
Totes.
I mean, I think Robin is too, but I mean, I could be dissuaded from that, but 100% I believe he's a narcissist.
Yeah, I think Robin's definitely a manipulator, and I think she's an enabler of Cody because she looks at all of this shit and allows it to happen and feels it in him a little bit. But if she just could get away from him maybe, and maybe get her own therapy, maybe she could see and hold accountability for herself and realize, oh yeah, I'm a sensitive ass bitch. I took everything really way too personally and I made the situation much worse than it needed to be by being the favorite wife. Like that would have gone a long way, but
no.
One can dream.
So my final thoughts, Mary Awesome. Looks like
based.
you've gotten some therapy, and I'm here for your worthy up journey. If you
Yes.
just stop saying worthy up. Christine, calm down. It's a bit much. I mean, I
Chill
get
out.
it with your barfing noises and your eye rolls and stuff. But at the same time, I'm super happy for you, and I hope your next chapter is awesome. Janelle, I mean, you've made some wrong decisions. I'm not going to let you off the hook, but like, you're my favorite.
Yep.
And I love your transparency, and I love it when you call him a dick and an asshole. And that means Cody. Cody, get fucked. You suck. You're a
bent.
terrible father.
Yep.
And you are a small, weak little man. And Robin, this is what you manifested for yourself. This man, this marriage, this McMansion.
Yep.
This is what you created. And now it is all yours, honey.
Congratulations.
So enjoy.
You can cry about it all you want, but this is what you designed for yourself.
Yes.
So
And
have at it.
now it makes sense that she was a witch the entire time,
That's what
manifesting
I'm saying.
with her double
Her
double
spells and
toil and
shit.
her fucking her toxic vision board. Well, here you go. You got it, honey.
You
Enjoy
got
it.
it.
But you know what? She don't look like she's enjoying anything.
No, she looks so unhappy,
dude.
dude.
In the talk backs.
That's what I'm saying. We'll
I'm
get
like,
to it.
we will get to it.
We will get to it.
We are going to have another episode separate from this because obviously we're already a little bit long.
Yep.
Where we're going to cover the talkbacks. We'll release that in a couple of days. So make sure you come back to the pod or to the channel
Yep.
or to the Patreon to check it out. But until then, Beatrice, is there anything else that we need to say to these awesome raccoons?
Well, if you love our podcast, I sure hope that you go onto your favorite podcast platform and give us a glowing 5-star review. It really helps us grow the pod. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I saw all of the reviews that we got in December, 5 stars from on your our Instagram.
Yeah.
You manage the
I
Instagram.
do.
I'm just like, I spent so much time just reading those
I
and being
know.
like feeling myself.
We had so much.
Oh my God, we have a community. I love it. So thank you. Those reviews really do help us. And
Yeah.
I personally love them.
We do love them.
And until next time, which again is going to be in a couple of days, never forget that we've got nothing but love for you and peace.